Hey guys, she's at Count here, CEO of Real Estate. Excited to bring another video to you this week about how to get more from your database. This video is going to be very short, but we're going to talk about three things or three focus points for your database that you can think about when selling and using the database as a tool for your business and help you convert more leads using your database. So tune into this video, but before you do, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're on our email list because we want to make sure that you're getting all of the wonderful content that we have out there. So stop right here, subscribe, and then tune in. So let's get into it. You have a database. The database is a tool for your business, right? I want to get that off the ground because a database is a tool that you're going to use to build your business, and it should be part of a system, a part of a strategy that you're executing for your business. But database is the tool. One of the things that I am very clear about teaching agents is it's always going to be a system, tool, or person that you help or you use to grow your business. System is something that you create that's duplicatable that gets you the same results. A tool is something that you'll utilize within a system. So you might have a database system. The tool that you're using is whatever software, database, CRM that you choose to use. That's the tool that you're using to execute the system. And then a person is who's going to manage that. Once you create the system, you enact it or put in the right tools, who's going to be the person to execute that? And it doesn't always have to be you. So understand that the purpose of developing systems using the tools that are at your disposal is so that can eventually become somebody else's job. Hello, that's how you start to build leverage in your business and you pull yourself out of the driver's seat of your business so that you can take a more passive role. And when I say take a more passive role, I want you to understand it's easy to make money passively in your business. It's harder to make money actively because actively requires a lot from you. So let's just talk about how do we use the database strategy to our advantage. So here is the golden rule that I have for a database strategy, and I want you to really just think about how you can use this in your business. One of the first things that I do is establish the method. So when anybody goes in my database, I always establish the method of communication. How am I going to communicate with them? Am I going to communicate by phone? Am I going to communicate by email? Am I going to communicate by text? Am I going to communicate by social media? The reason why this is super important is because if you don't establish this, and I put this in my tags, if you have tags or if you have notes in your database, I put this for every contact because if somebody reaches out to me on social media, very rarely will I try to bring them off of social media. Why? They reached out to me at the platform that they feel comfortable. So if they felt comfortable messaging me on social media, I'm going to message them back on social media, even as part of a database strategy. Here's what I mean. If I have a 90-day check-in cycle with them where I have to make a physical connection with them, I'm still not going to call them. I'm going to Facebook inbox them because that's where they message me at. Now, at some point, I'm going to have to get a phone number, get an email. However, I don't do that initially. I have closed deals from my inboxes with people that I've never even met personally before, but they reached out to me. I got them in touch with the lender, got them with a showing assistant, did the consultation right through the Facebook inbox. And I'm telling you, we got to look at our business differently because so many times we're trying to do business like everybody else instead of taking a real look at what the market needs for where we are. One of the things I pride myself on being the CEO of real estate is I look at my business from a CEO's perspective. I'm not looking at what works for everybody else. I study that because it's going to give me expertise and insight that I need to make decisions in my business. But I'm executing systems and strategies that work for me where I am and help me meet people where they are. So here's what I mean. Establish how you're going to communicate with them. That's one, the method of communication. The second thing you want to establish is the frequency of communication. How often are you going to communicate with your database leads? And this is how you start to systematize that. Are you going to communicate with these leads every 30 days, every 60 days, every 90 days? And keep in mind, it'll be on a rolling cycle. So if I add somebody to my database today and I communicate with them in 90 days, but then I add somebody in 2 weeks and I communicate with them in 90 days, it's not going to be everything due at once. It's going to be according to the number of people that I'm adding, the time that I'm adding, but I have to establish the frequency. So there are some leads that I communicate with every 30 days. There are some leads that I communicate with every 90 days. There are some leads that I communicate with once every 6 months, once a year. It just depends on the need of that client. If I have a client and we've closed the deal, meaning they're in a house that I sold to them, Now they're going to come into my database. Well, they're already in the database, but they're going to be now tagged as a seller. And then they're going to get a monthly evaluation of their property, which our brokerage provides for free through an automated system in our database. They're going to get that monthly. They're going to get a newsletter monthly. They're also going to get a quarterly call. So every 90 days, they're going to hear from me. That's the frequency for our past clients. Now, there's different frequencies because pre-approved buyers, I'm communicating with them every 3 days. Buyers that are 90 days out, I'm communicating with them every week. You want to set this stuff up in advance. And the reason why you want to set this stuff in advance, because it's going to be very hard to do in the moment. If you are running your business where you're doing things in the fly without any thought process on how you're doing that, you are not running a business, you have a hobby. I want to help realtors actually run businesses that they can actually create sellable assets with. And that's why I'm so meticulous about the systems that I create in my business. The third thing you want to do, and this is the most important, is the basis of the conversation. If I decide I'm going to call them every 30 days, when I call them, what the heck am I going to talk about? This is where the magic happens. This is what I tell people on my team and in my coaching program. I want you to think about your real estate conversations as a continuous conversation. So every time I hang up with a person, I determine what I'm going to talk to them about next. Is it going to be needs based, meaning am I going to find out what they need and try to help? Is it going to be value based? Am I offering some type of offering or value up front? Is it going to be question based? Am I calling just to shoot the crap and see what's going on and ask questions? Is it going to be situation based? Meaning I seen something that they had going on and now I'm going to address it with them, like maybe their kid graduated or something like that. Is it going to be, around pushing for a listing appointment, pushing for whatever it is? We need to determine that in advance. Here's why. Because if connection is built through continuous conversation, I want my person to always feel like we're just continuing conversation. Let me give you an example of what that looks like. I have a client, I talked to her, it was like January, and she's on a 90-day call list, and she was telling me that she's getting ready. Her kid is a senior. She's going through senior year. So when I called her again in April is right before, May, where prom and all that stuff is going. My first words to her was, hey, how you holding up? Prom season is tough. And she was like, oh my God, you have no idea. So what I did was I linked that previous conversation to this conversation. So in her mind, we never disconnected. We were linked up. This is how you build systematic relationships with people in your database, because the database is supposed to be used to nurture the relationship. If you're not systematizing how you use it, you're not really going to get the benefit of having a customer relationship management system, which is what the CRM is called and used for. So I like to talk about this because I want, and I'm going to do a biblical series soon. So probably for the last 2 months of the year, we're going to be talking about biblical concepts that apply to your real estate business. However, I wanted to talk about this because the database is where a lot of people are losing it. A database is something that takes time to build, but it is like a bank. If you put money into it, you will be able to get money out of it. A lot of times we're not able to get money from our database because we're not systematic about using it. One of the things that I am very passionate about is teaching people how to use their database. I teach a class called Database to Data Bank, and I talk to you about the exact things that you need to do to turn your database into a bank role for your business. The challenge with a database is a lot of people don't go in and work it. You got to deposit leads in, you got to nurture them just like you would in seed time and harvest, and then you make the withdrawals. Now, my question is to you, what are you doing with your database? If you don't have a database, you don't have a business, because if somebody wanted to buy your real estate business, they would be buying your data. Data is big money. Zillow and all those other companies, they're selling you data. So I want to challenge you. I want to know how many leads you have in your database now. Are those leads tagged appropriately as buyer, seller, investor? Are they tagged appropriately for the timeline that they want to buy, 30, 60, 90 days, 1 year? And then are you continuously adding new people to it daily to the tune of 20 people a day at least, and then putting those people on some type of value added nurture or smart plan where the smart plan can begin to do the work for you? My team is getting leads from a database strategy just using smart plans. And smart plans, if you don't know, I would assume everybody does, but our digital plans that you create in advance, everything is in advance. You turn it on and it does the work for you. So if you don't know how to build a database, I'm going to have a class coming up soon, and it's probably going to be in the next 90 days about how to build a database. But I can come to your brokerage and teach it if you're listening. Introduce me to the people at your brokerage. I would love to come there and do that. But this is going to be how you build your business in a shifting market. It's going to be relationships, and your database is the place to build a relationship. So do not miss that. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you tune in for the next video.